Let's talk about how to narrate a story in English. Storytelling is a powerful way to learn and improve English. When we tell a story, we connect with people. We share ideas, feelings, and experiences. It's like painting a picture with words. Narrating a story helps you to think in English, to feel the language, and to speak with confidence. When I started learning English, I loved listening to stories. They were simple but full of meaning. I remember my teacher telling us a story about a little bird who wanted to fly high. The bird was scared at first, but with time, the bird learned to trust its wings. This story was more than just words. It taught me about courage and patience. It also helped me learn new words and phrases in English. To narrate a story in English, start with a clear and simple idea. Think about what you want to say. Picture the story in your mind. This helps you to see the scenes and characters clearly. When you speak, try to make your voice calm and steady. A calm voice helps people to listen and understand better. It also makes you feel more relaxed. One tip is to use simple words. Simple words are easy to understand. They make your story clear. For example, instead of saying astonished, you can say surprised. Instead of saying commence, you can say start. Simple words are powerful. They help your audience to follow the story easily. When I was a student, I used to read stories out loud. I read them slowly, paying attention to each word. This helped me to improve my pronunciation. One day, I was reading a story about a brave knight. The knight had to face many dangers, but he never gave up. As I read, I felt like I was the knight, facing my own challenges in learning English. This made me feel strong and motivated. Another tip is to use short sentences. Short sentences are easy to follow. They keep the story moving. They also give you time to think about what you want to say next. For example, instead of saying, "The brave knight, who had fought many battles before, decided to embark on a dangerous journey to save the kingdom from the evil dragon," you can say, "The brave knight had fought many battles. He decided to save the kingdom. The journey was dangerous, but he was ready." Using short sentences also helps to keep the listener's attention. When the sentences are short, the listener does not get lost. They stay with you, eager to hear what happens next. I remember a time when I was asked to tell a story to a group of friends. I was nervous, but I decided to tell a story that I loved. It was about a young girl who found a magical book in the forest. The book could make her wishes come true. As I told the story, I noticed that my friends were listening closely. They were smiling and nodding. This made me feel more confident. I realized that the story was not just about the words. It was about how I told it, how I made them feel. And to make your story interesting, use your voice. change your tone to match the mood of the story. If something exciting happens, make your voice lively. If something sad happens, make your voice soft. This helps to bring the story to life. It makes the listener feel the emotions of the characters. One time, I was telling a story to my younger brother. It was a scary story about a haunted house. As I spoke, I made my voice deep and slow. My brother's eyes were wide with fear, but he was also excited. He wanted to know what would happen next. When I finished, he said, "That was the best story ever. This made me happy." I knew that the way I used my voice had made the story special. You can also use pauses in your storytelling. Pauses give the listener time to think. They create suspense. When you pause, the listener wonders what will happen next. It's like holding their hand and guiding them through the story. Once, I was narrating a story to my classmates. It was about a detective who was solving a mystery. When I reached a crucial point in the story, I paused. Everyone leaned in, waiting for what would happen next. After a moment, I continued, and they all sighed with relief. That pause made the moment more intense and exciting. Another important tip is to practice. The more you practice, the better you become. Try telling the same story again and again. Each time, you will find new ways to make it better. You will feel more comfortable and confident. Practice also helps you to remember the story. This way, you can tell it without looking at notes. When I was learning English, I practiced by telling stories to my mirror. I pretended that the mirror was my audience. I told stories about my day, about my dreams, and about my favorite books. This helped me to improve my speaking skills. It also made me more confident in using English. You can also practice by recording yourself. Listen to the recording and notice how you sound. Do you speak clearly? Do you use the right tone? Are your sentences too long? By listening to yourself, you can find areas to improve. This will help you to become a better storyteller. Storytelling is not just about speaking. It's also about listening. When you listen to others, you learn how they tell stories. You notice how they use their voice, their words, and their pauses. This gives you ideas for your own storytelling. I remember listening to a famous storyteller on the radio. Her stories were simple but full of emotion. She made me feel like I was part of the story. I learned a lot from listening to her. I learned how to use my voice to express feelings, how to create suspense, and how to make the listener feel connected to the story. Another thing to remember is that mistakes are okay. Everyone makes mistakes when they speak a new language. The important thing is to keep going. If you forget a word or make a mistake, don't worry. Just continue the story. Your audience will still enjoy it. I once made a mistake while telling a story to my class. I forgot a word and paused for a long time. I felt embarrassed, but I didn't give up. I found another word and continued the story. After the class, my teacher told me, mistakes are part of learning. What matters is that you didn't stop. You kept going. And that's what makes you a good storyteller. Her words stayed with me. It's also helpful to use body language when you tell a story. Your hands, face, and eyes can add to the story. They help to show the emotions of the characters. For example, if a character is happy, you can smile. If a character is scared, you can widen your eyes. Body language makes the story more vivid and real. I remember watching a storyteller who used a lot of body language. He moved his hands, raised his eyebrows, and changed his expressions. His movements made the story come alive. Even though his words were simple, his body language added depth to the story. I tried to use body language in my own storytelling, and it made a big difference. Using props can also make your storytelling more interesting. Props are objects that you can use to show what is happening in the story. For example, if your story is about a pirate, you can hold a toy sword. If your story is about a chef, you can wear a chef's hat. Props make the story more visual and fun. One time, I used a small toy car while telling a story to a group of children. The story was about a race car driver who wanted to win a big race. As I told the story, I moved the toy car around, showing how the driver sped through the track. The children were excited and clapped their hands. The prop made the story more engaging for them. When you tell a story, try to connect with your audience. Look at them, smile, and make them feel included. Ask questions like, what do you think will happen next? Or have you ever felt like this? This makes the audience feel like they are part of the story. It also keeps them interested and involved. I once asked my audience, what would you do if you found a magic lamp? Everyone started sharing their ideas. Some said they would wish for money, others for happiness. This interaction made the story more lively and fun. It also gave me a chance to learn new words and phrases. Lastly, enjoy the process. Storytelling is a joyful activity. It's a way to share a part of yourself with others. When you enjoy telling the story, your audience will enjoy listening to it. Your passion and excitement will shine through your words. When I first started narrating stories, I was nervous. But as I continued, I began to enjoy it. I loved seeing the smiles on people's faces, hearing their laughter, and feeling their emotions. Storytelling became a way for me to express myself, to connect with others, and to grow as a person. As you continue to practice, you will find your own style of storytelling. You will discover what works best for you. You might like to tell funny stories, or maybe you prefer stories with a lot of action. Whatever your style, remember that the key is to be yourself. Let your personality shine through your words.